Good morning, everybody. My name is Rob Whiteley. I'm the VP of Marketing at Hedvig, and I'll just give you a quick introduction to who we are and what we do. So, one of the things that we see that's common among a lot of our early customers is this basic equation here, which is there's a big push on the business innovation side to use technology, to engage new customers, to bring new services to market. That in turn puts a lot of pressure on time to market for developers, which in turn is requiring IT to come up with more flexible infrastructure. I paint this because what we've seen is quite a few customers don't really care how they achieve this ends, but they just need to be able to more readily adapt to business requirements. Quick example, our largest customer is a Fortune 50 bank, and their challenge was that in 2012, they were caught off guard when all of a sudden all of the banks were offering the ability to take a picture of a check and directly deposit it. So they had to massively over-engineer a solution. They were 12 to 18 months late to market, and they began to lose customers as a result. So at that time, their CTO mandated never again. We have to move to an all-new infrastructure. We have to build a modern cloud infrastructure, and it has to be very, very flexible. So long story short, they've been going down this path, and what they found was that storage was actually the biggest bottleneck to achieving this more modern infrastructure. And so they looked at a lot of the solutions. Ultimately, they chose Hedvig because of a couple of key capabilities we have, which I can touch on. But it's this concept of going specifically after companies that are building internal clouds or public clouds who need more flexible infrastructure is what we do. To put one more data point on it, data is currently growing 10x faster than budget, right? So we know the data explosion is a problem, and so not only analyzing it, but also just storing it has become a problem. That's on the CapEx side. On the OpEx side, we also know that over half of companies take days, weeks, or months to provision storage. That's why systems are so inflexible. In fact, only 14% of companies claim they can do it in a cloud-like sub 5 minute. So you have developers that are used to going to Amazon or Azure and provisioning all their services in seconds, juxtaposed with companies that are measuring it in days and weeks. And so our goal is to bring a storage product to market that has the capabilities of what you see in the public cloud, but packaged and consumable in a way that your standard enterprise would do it. Here's our leadership team. Our founder is a gentleman by the name of Avinash Lakshman. Avinash is notable for having built 2 large distributed systems in his career. He was the co-inventor of Amazon Dynamo, which was the first NoSQL database. It's the database that underpins the shopping cart at Amazon to this day. And then ultimately, he was recruited from there to go to Facebook, where he was the inventor of Cassandra. He oversaw its open sourcing. It's now Apache Cassandra, and it's arguably the most popular NoSQL database. And so towards the end of his tenure at Facebook, he realized, I've built these big distributed systems built for a very narrow subset of web applications. What I really need to do is go deeper in the stack and build a general purpose storage platform that can benefit any application. Going back to that bank, they have 2,000 applications, and so they needed a platform that could accommodate that breadth and depth. So Hedvig is not a NoSQL platform. We are a storage platform, so don't think of us as a successor, but instead he took his experience building and operating, because he was the person responsible for them in production. And to give you an example, Apple is one of the largest Cassandra deployments. They run a 75,000 node deployment. That's 75,000 servers. So he knew he could write software that scales. The challenge was then packaging the rest of it. So we rounded out the team with people that come from the storage industry so that we could take that distributed systems DNA and marry it with storage. We have $12.5 million in funding to date. We've filed about 12 patents, and we're we just launched the company on March 25th. We have about 10 customers today with another 20 on the horizon, so we think the momentum is going in our direction. What we do at a real high level is you take any commodity off-the-shelf server. It could be x86 or it could be ARM. That's quite unique. You deploy our software on top of it, and we transform each one of those servers into a node of our storage. So instead of the old monolithic arrays or even some of the newer software ones, it's much more scalable. It also has, because this is a true distributed system, it has the ability to parallelize things. And so we can do things in software that could previously only be done in hardware. So that gives us the ability to have a lot of additional functionality that other platforms even the more modern ones don't have. Our software can also run in a cloud, so you could run it in a public cloud or a private cloud and logically span the two. So it's implicitly hybrid, and so it allows you to set DR policy. We have a customer that's sending copies of data from San Francisco to Denver to a cloud in AWS, and it's all one logical blob of storage to him. And then finally, the other major benefit of this type of platform is they no longer have to go through the refresh cycles, the data migrations. Because this is commodity infrastructure, you just age out old servers, you add new servers, and what happens is when you decommission a server, we spread the data back out, you add the new, we spread it all. So you never have to go through, you can actually keep your data set logically consistent without ever having to refresh. So that's a quick little bit about what we are. Obviously, I'm not going to go into a lot more technical depth. We target a couple of different use cases right off the bat. Perhaps the one we've got the most traction is big data. Companies doing multiple Hadoop instances or multiple NoSQL databases, and they need a more scalable storage platform underneath. And then also people building clouds. So we're completely API driven, and also just given Avinash's background in working at cloud companies, we've built the software to be extremely intelligent and require little to no human intervention. So it completely changes the way storage can be operated as well as built and scaled for the modern enterprise. So that's all I want to talk about. So thank you very much.